SAFM, setting the nationwide agenda daily. Daily. 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 SAFM, setting the nationwide agenda daily. Daily.
That highlight the importance of early detection, survivor stories that inspire hope, and expert advice that could save lives. Together, let's spread awareness and support the fight against breast cancer. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
I don't love going to school. I don't love sitting in a classroom with 50 other children, but I do love learning. Ndiyakuthanda ukufunda isiXhosa as a language. I do love getting good grades. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before 28 November.
Thank you, Sakina and the team. On the top stories, SIU raid House of Man linked to Tembisa Hospital corruption, and General Masamula speaks on challenges faced by the SAPS. For SFM News, I'm Ondalambana, and a very good day. The Special Investigating Unit is conducting a high-profile raid at the home of Hangwani Morgan Maumela, who is allegedly linked to the Tembisa Hospital fraud and corruption case involving over 2 billion rand. Sources close to the investigation say the unit obtained a court order to search the residential property. Maumela, who is reportedly connected to President Cyril Ramaphosa through a previous marriage, is said to have secured contracts with 816 million rand. Lerato Magula is at the scene.
Police officers are stationed outside the Palishal Sentim property monitoring the raid. The property reportedly boasts a car wash, a fully equipped gym, and a barber shop. SIU authorities have yet to confirm the full outcome of today's raid at Maumela's home. The operation is ongoing, with media barred from entering the premises. Lerato Makula, SABC News in Johannesburg.
National Police Commissioner General Bridget Masinga says the challenges plaguing the South African Police Service are not insurmountable. Masinga is appearing before Parliament's ad hoc committee that is investigating allegations that were made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi in July this year. The committee was formed to look into Mkhwanazi's wide-ranging allegations of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system. The committee's evidence leader, Advocate Norman Arendse, asked Masinga about problems mentioned by Mkhwanazi engulfing SAPS. In his response, Masinga said the challenges can be resolved.
Yes, there are problems, but it's not problems that are beyond to be resolved. They can be resolved. It's problems that have to be or need to be fixed.
Police in Northwest say they are hot on the heels of suspects who shot and killed 2 people in Mahigeng. Spokesperson Brigadier Sabata Mokhabone says the motive of the shooting is not yet known and they are investigating.
The incident took place at the entrance of Bradford Park taxi rank. It is alleged unknown suspect or suspects opened fire on 2 men. One of them was certified dead at the scene while the other passed away at the local hospital. The motive of the incident is yet to be determined and no suspect has been arrested at this stage. Investigations into the matter continue.
2 of 6 accused in the murder of 18-year-old Leolo Wakeni have been granted bail by the Human-Stop Magistrate Court in the Eastern Cape. Wakeni was fatally stabbed at the Human-Stop High School 2 weeks ago. 4 other accused, who are minors, are also expected to make formal bail application in the Children's Court tomorrow. The accused have each been granted 1,000 rand bail. Father of the deceased, Siyabonga Plaki, has expressed disappointment on the magistrate's decision to grant bail.
Disappointed
I am very disappointed with the law and how they operated, but we need to respect it because we do not know what they saw for them to be granted bail. I mean, 1,000 rand bail for a person's life. That really breaks my heart. I don't see myself making peace with it unless these boys are convicted. What's worse is that there are kids at school who will not be safe in these boys' hands.
The family of a deceased professional nurse from Hamashamba, Hartside, Louis, treated in Limpopo, is appealing for financial assistance to repatriate remains from Ireland. 48-year-old Chiwela Mpampuli died of natural causes on the 17th of August. She had relocated to Ireland in 2004 to pursue a career as a nurse. She had a dual citizenship. Her family has until the end of this week to collect her remains or she will be buried there. The deceased eldest daughter says her 12-year-old sibling, who has Ireland citizenship only, is now placed under foster care in that country.
I'm always getting phone calls whereby they hurt me, but at the end it's reality. As I speak at the moment, my mother was supposed to be already buried that side at Ireland because she was already having a citizenship with Ireland. So the day my mother passed on, foster care immediately took her. So as I'm speaking at the moment, she is staying under foster care.
Recapping the top story, the Special Investigating Unit is conducting a high-profile raid at the home of Hangwani Morgan Maumela, who is allegedly linked to the Tembisa Hospital fraud and corruption case involving over 2 billion rand. I'm on Dilambana for SFM News Headlines at 1:30.
Power, land, loyalty, blood. In the heart of Montana, the fight for the Dutton Ranch is far from over. Betrayals cut deep, enemies close in, and every choice could be their last. Yellowstone, Season 4, where family is everything and nothing is off limits. Every Tuesday, starting September 2nd at 7 p.m, only on S3. S3, open up.
Think about 6 years ago, when Amapiano was just a musical instrument, when streaming meant watching water flow, not videos online, and remote work was only said when your remote batteries died. So it makes you wonder, what will the next 6 years bring? Ohino trucks now come standard with a 6-year drivetrain warranty, covering everything from pistons to gears. So although a lot can change in 6 years, our warranty promise won't. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
This summer, the continent unites for the biggest football showdown in Africa. The Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 is coming to your screens, live and available on SABC TV channels, SABC Sport, SABC Plus, and across your favorite SABC radio stations. Catch all 52 thrilling matches, stand behind Bafana Bafana, and experience every goal, every cheer, and every victory from 21 December 2025 to 18 January 2026. SABC Sport brings you all the AFCON 2025 action, live and free, because it's game on everywhere.
For the love of the game.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Don't try to move me from my lover, yeah. Suited for each other, suited for each other. Tailor-made, I'm glued up on my lover. I'll never lose him to another, yeah. When we talked on the phone and you said that you love me, did you say that that's for sure, yeah? I wanna scream from the top of the rooftop, tell you that my love for you, I keep on rewind. I struggle to find new words to define. Wanna love, yeah. Wanna love, yeah. Wanna love, yeah. Wanna love, yeah. Wanna love, love. Baby, we both know it's just something we both know. Suited for each other, suited for each other. Don't try to move me from my lover, yeah. Suited for each other, suited for each other. Tailor-made, I'm glued up on my lover. I'll never lose him to another, yeah. Never know, yeah. Never lose it to another, yeah. Never know, yeah. Never know, yeah. See, I just really miss you, yeah. And I'm forever in true to you. Somehow I just stay glued to you. Oh, I gotta get away. No, not forever, just a little break. But I can't find the time or place. I don't ever wanna go too far away. So we play husband and wives. You take the keys to my life. I know we're just a little too young, yeah. And having just a little too much fun. Ay, but what a love that we got. What a love that we got. When it just don't stop, we fade into a special space. I pray we never lose the faith, yeah. What a love, 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 yeah. What a love, what a love, what a love, yeah. What a love, what a love, yeah. What a love, what a love, what a love, what a love, what a love. Baby, we both know it's just something we both know. It's just something we both know. It's just something we both know, yeah. We both know, yeah. Suited for each other, suited for each other. Don't try to move me from my lover, yeah. I'll never lose him to another, yeah. Never know, yeah. Never lose him to another, yeah. Never know, yeah. Never know, yeah.
Shekinah coming through. Suited is the name of this single. She brought us some incredible summer hits a few summers back. Maybe she can bring us a little something for 2025 as well. That is how we kick off the show this afternoon. It's just gone 10 past 1 o'clock on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. Good afternoon to you. I hope you are having a good day. So much is happening. So much is unfolding right now on the news cycle, as well as in the country. Lots of events that are taking place that we're casting our eyes on. And I think one very, very important one, obviously, is that sitting of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee that's looking into the claims that were made by General Mkhwanazi. And I know that a lot of people, if you're on social media, where we're all sort of coming together to unpack everything in real time as we learn it, a lot of people are really quite intrigued by some of the revelations. You know, some of the things we already heard at the Madlanga Commission, some things are being expanded on. Also, there's some new line of questioning that the parliamentarians are putting forward to General Mkhwanazi. So today, because it is day 3 of that ad hoc committee, we thought we'd touch base with you and find out from you what has stood out for you thus far. I mean, those sittings have been very long. I went to sleep last night and the sitting was still on. So we'd love to know from you what stood out for you so far. Any new developments that perhaps you've noted outside of the Madlanga Commission? Anything of interest or surprise maybe that's been expanded on? Would love to hear what has jumped out for you. What have you observed? 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. You can send through a WhatsApp voice note right now. In fact, I think we're going to focus the first part of the show just on that. And 086-000-2032 is the number that you can call us on. There's a lot coming up on the show. We're also going to be touching base with the chairperson of Children 20 and then dipping into stages, pages, screens and more after 2 o'clock. And we are going to be having a conversation around storytelling, particularly film making. But that's coming up after 2. I'll tell you what else is coming up after 2 o'clock. For now, though, it's 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line, and 086-000-2032. Looking into that third day of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee inquiry, and just interested in terms of what you've picked up and what has really just left you maybe with mouth ajar, jaw on the floor, thinking, I can't believe we live in this country. I can't believe all of this has been happening. I'd love to hear from you. So you can send through your voice note and we'll play them throughout the show and get a sense for whether or not maybe what you've picked up on is also what everyone else has picked up on as well. From my side, I guess, firstly, it would be the fact that when General Mkhwanazi was asked how safe he believed and he felt his family was in the midst of all the allegations, since that press briefing on July 6th. He had a very interesting answer, but it's something that we all think about, right? Because since July 6th, we've all kind of thought about, oh my God, at least I have. I've kind of thought like, oh my gosh, I wonder his wife and his children, who are part and parcel of his journey, how safe are they feeling in this moment, and what they must be going through in this moment? Let's hear, when General was asked, his response around that.
Chair members, the safety of my family is a responsibility of police officers around the country. I said in the public before that I've got family members in majority of these provinces of South Africa. And to guarantee their safety, it's up to the men and women in blue out there to provide security. I don't have money, honorable chair and members, to hire bodyguards for my family members. It's impossible. I cannot do that. So their safety can only be guaranteed by men and women in blue that are out there, that's supposed to protect everyone else. So I might believe that their safety is equal to the safety of every citizen. Their vulnerability in terms of crime applies to the rest of the citizens of this country. So they are not different to anyone else. There's no special provisions for them, and I cannot guarantee whether they are safe or not safe.
You know, what stands out for me about the general, especially even in answering that question around the safety of his family, is really how much he's a believer in the men and women in blue. Is it blue and gray in South Africa? Because it's not blue and white. he's a believer in really in himself, in the SAPS, in the people that he serves with under SAPS. And this jumped out in my household last night when we were speaking about it, because even when he was asked around whistleblowers and perhaps what his suggestion might be in terms of how do we safeguard whistleblowers, what needs to be considered, what are the challenges and the flaws there. His answer still very much was resonant to what he's just said now. You know, he was like, first and foremost, whistleblowers should probably, before even getting themselves into any kind of arrangement with a media house or a media source that they trust, should probably approach the SAPS at whatever level that they need to approach the SAPS with the information that they have, you know, and to ensure that they get the necessary protection from the SAPS. So he really is he really does strike me as being a man of service to the core. We'll come back and we'll continue with the highlights from day 3 of that parliamentary ad hoc committee sitting. 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line.
Hello, hello. My name is Rifilwe Madubo, also known as Fikile Maponya, your rich, bougie auntie who takes no nonsense. I made it out of the ghetto and into the penthouse, CEO of Maponya Media. Make sure to catch Generations The Legacy every Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. SABC 1.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
Doing the right thing just got more rewarding from 8 October to the 31st of December when you pay your SABC TV license. We'll say thank you with a 50 Rand grocery voucher and more. It's our way of celebrating you for helping us to keep local stories and talent alive. Pay, wait for your SMS and follow the instructions to claim your reward. Make sure your contact details are up to date so we can send your prize straight to you. TV licenses, pay yours and make a difference.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
You know, the thing is, my producers just said to me, we're highlighting day 2, but today's day 3 of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. And I think between the Ad Hoc Committee and the Madlanga Committee, commission, everything is getting merged into one. Because I must still remember when we come back on the 13th, what day are we on the Madlanga Commission? Because we left somewhere on Sunday. But we are recapping on the first 2 days of that Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. Day 3 is currently underway today, obviously with Fani Masimula, who's sitting in front of that commission, and that is the National Police Commissioner, General Fani Masimula. But the last 2 days were occupied by General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, as he walked the parliamentarians through everything that has transpired since that date of July 6th, and of course the events leading up to him taking us all into his confidence. The other thing that General Mkhwanazi was asked about was this Big Five. I think everybody's quite intrigued about the Big Five, right? And we're not talking about the big Safari Bush Five, but this Big Five, and who are they? Who are the names that are yet to be revealed of these folks? And people have their guesses. There's the gentleman, obviously, that has been linked as a relative to President Cyril Ramaphosa right now, who a lot of people on social media now are saying he's part of the Big Five. But we don't know. Let's go to the general responding to that.
To answer the question of the honourable member, I think it's important to look at that sketch that we put in the statement. You are asking who are these Big Fives. We can only talk about the Big Five of those that are already arrested and they're in court. Those that have not been arrested, unfortunately, we're not in a liberty to talk about them. You will see that the Big Five on this graph are those that are marked with red on the picture on the left. So that whole group, the only names that we are making it visible here are the two names. Okay. And that's a name of a Vusmus Matlala, who is known as Cat, as well as Katiso Molefe. Both individuals have been to court, and I think you are privy to the court processes related to their cases. We have the other three that we did not reflect here. They are known. Their names are known. I must say, honorable chair members, these are tenderpreneurs. These are the people that the government has been awarding tenders to. They are quite big financially. They are part of this whole lot. We did not put their names because we did not want to implicate people before they appear before court, except the others. The place that we feel comfortable to talk about it, we name the names, and the others that we're not comfortable with, we did not put the names.
It would be interesting to know at this point why they're not comfortable in putting those three names as yet. Appearing in court first? Oh, I see. All right. And then the other standout moment, I think, for a lot of people was when the general spoke on the relationship between Minister Mkhunu and Brian Mokhotsi.
Minister Mkhunu claiming that this man is a comrade, the political party concern says he's not a comrade. That means the conclusion we must draw is that this is not a comrade, it's a criminal. That the minister is invited to be part of the police. Minister lied when he said he's a comrade. When I became aware of this gentleman in as early as end of September in 2024, and confirmed by the chief of staff that he's a friend of the minister. And subsequent to that, and the team started uncovering the communication on the cell phone, which happened later in May, somewhere about this year. And when they started realizing that means this Brian Mokhotsi has got more role to play in policing matters than what we think of.
But I'm also a little confused. If we say the other three, and I'm no lawyer, so I'm asking this and you can please educate me. If we say the other three names, they're not comfortable in naming yet because of court processes, but did the general not name the other two in that July briefing before any court was... There's so much that has transpired. He named Kat. Okay, and Kat, in July 6th, was he already appearing in court? No, he wasn't. There was a pending arrest, but he hadn't arrived. Okay, so maybe they're holding off on that, not because of court, but for the sake of spooking them, and then they skedaddle over to some fabulous place like Swaziland. All right. Let's go to WhatsApp. Let's see what's on your mind. 061-410-4107. In case you're wondering who are the voices in my head, I'm conferring with the voices in my head, being my producers as we get to this. So what's stood up for you? Would love to hear from your perspective.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Good afternoon, Bridget, and the listeners of the show. Bridget, I respect the ADO committee. They are doing a great and wonderful job. Unlike the Madlanga Commission, they were busy. They are busy wasting the resources of the state and money. They are failing to do a simple task. When they question a person, it's like they are playing a musical instrument of a violin. They are busy pulling the string instead of being accurate. And I won't be surprised if Fikile Mbalula's name is being called one day as one of the big five, because that Madala speaks a lot. He got a lot of airtime. Maybe he's trying to hide something. You know, when you speak a lot, you're hiding something. Brian Mabai from Proteacland. Thanks for the great show, Bridget.
Good day, my sister. Hope you're good. Hope you're good, and good day to your listeners. Hey, Bridget, this thing. I don't know. I don't know, my lady. I don't know, my sister. You see, this thing of tenders is a messy thing. It's a messy thing. I don't know why the government don't review this thing of tenders. They could employ so many people to fix roads and everything, but they continuing with this tendering thing. And this is the thing that where people pay the price of debt, and there's corruption and everything. Because I'm working at the government or municipalities, I'm awarding that thing to my nephews, sisters, friends, or whatever. That's the thing with this tenders thing. The government employs so much people, so much people, if they just can think over this tendering thing, because this thing is killing people. Thanks, sis.
Good afternoon, Bridget. This is Nathan Banja from Mgambatini. Bridget, in regarding that issue of briefing of Nhlanhla Mukhwanazi, the parliamentarian, hey, look, this guy, when he said the protection of his family is relying on men in blue, yeah, and all what he said, it shows me that he's a leader that we are looking for to fix South Africa, but not a politician. He's right where he is. But as for me, I feel like he must be promoted to be a senior general of South Africa. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
I feel like he already is a senior general by virtue of the fact that he's a general. Maybe you want him to resume as national commissioner permanently this time around. But his contract is up for renewal in March, and he's already stated that contractually talks should begin 4 months before that contract expires. So we'll wait and see, Uti, by December, November, if there'll be talks, and will those talks be headed in the right direction. It'll also be interesting to see if they don't renew General Mkhwanazi's contract come 2026. What are South Africans going to feel about that? 1:30, it's time for the headline news.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, the Special Investigating Unit is conducting a raid at the home of Hangwani Morgan Maumela, who is allegedly linked to the Tembisa Hospital fraud and corruption case involving over 2 billion rand. The Gauteng provincial government is urging the public to dispose of electronic waste responsibly and take part in recycling programs to protect the environment and support sustainable communities. And at least 13 people have been killed and 16 others injured in shelling at the main hospital in Sudan's besieged city of El Fasher in North Darfur. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio. You are listening to The Full Circle.
Yeah, we are watching the visuals right now on SABC News of that SIU raid on Hangwani's property. I think it's concluded now because we are just running the same visuals that we were running in the morning. But basically, he went to Daytona and said, give me a Ferrari in every version in blue. And oh yeah, Lamborghini. There we go. See, this is how much I know about fancy cars. Fana like me. I basically wanted a Lamborghini in every shape, but in the same shade of blue. And that, of course, is from that money from Tembisa Hospital, the looting that transpired there. We're shifting focus just a little bit. Shirley Machaba joins us now, who's the Leadership Development Committee Chair and Board Member of the International Women's Forum South Africa. And we're looking at the forum in itself. What exactly does IWF-SA do? And how do they go about building and fostering leadership, particularly around females in the country? Good afternoon to you, Shirley. How are you?
Very well, Bridget. And how are you?
I'm awesome.
Good afternoon to the listeners.
Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. So let's us get some history on the International Women's Forum South Africa, because this particular organization has been championing female leadership for a while now. But give us some context, some background context.
Thank you for that question. So IWFSA, in short, was founded in 2001 by our patron, Mandeki, and it really serves as a powerful voice for women in South Africa, connecting preeminent leaders across the globe and shaping the leaders of tomorrow through world-class leadership development and mentorship programs. So I must say we are having plus or minus, less than 100. I think it's 80 members. And our philosophy really is around lift as we rise. We promote ethical, inclusive, and visionary leadership by creating pathways. And as I said, we lift as we rise. So it's about making sure that we are building a legacy, driving systemic change through mentorship, leadership development, and strategic networks that really going to be shaping the leaders of tomorrow and enabling them to lead with confidence, purpose, and impact.
Since inception of IWF-SA, Shirley, you guys have actually celebrated quite a significant milestone recently where you've marked the successful equipping of 1,000 women leaders across the finance and accounting sector. What's been the winning formula for the work that you've done to ensure that you are able to lift as you rise?
Yeah, let me start by saying really the very first, formula that really worked for us, it was more collaboration. You will know that if you fly alone, you die alone. So we formed partnerships with key stakeholders like your FACET. FACET has been the funder and the enabler, because you will know that International Women's Forum of South Africa is a non-profit organization. We also went further to really get another key partner, which is Duke CE. Duke was, in this role, the implementer, designing the curriculum and making sure that, these 1,000 women are also exposed to, global economies. We call it global immersion. But the other very important aspect for this program is mentorship. There was, group mentorship and individual mentorship. I'm also one of the mentors. There's a lot of, preeminent women leaders in South Africa who are mentors, and we also included the global ones as well. So really, for me, if I have to sum up, that, defines the success of this program.
The other thing that we need to talk about, Shirley, is oftentimes the conversation in South Africa is around the theme of there being a leadership deficit in the country at the moment. And I wonder, when you are building and grooming these young female leaders, what is the hope in the sense of the path that these young females will chart, especially in turning around South Africa?
So really the hope, because here we're talking about women who are already at managerial level. For example, this program is comprising executive development program as well as a middle management development program. So it's really people who are already at manager executive level a bit, but they are still aspiring to be sitting on boards or at ExCo level. So our hope is to make sure that these people are empowered with, transformational leadership. They are able to lead ethically. They are able to really lead with confidence. Sometimes you find that, when you have a technical expertise, you still don't have that voice. So we want them to have the voice, sit at the table, speak up, be able to also have tools to really navigate through complexities within the economy. You will agree with me that we have mega trends now. We're talking about ESG. We're talking about technology, AI, all those social issues. So this program enables them to really be very confident in those kind of, topical areas.
And very necessary, I think, for us to constantly have these conversations around women leadership and the role that women occupy in big business in the country. And also just creating networks such as IWFSA to keep ensuring that even for generations to come, that momentum is never lost, right? That for every generation builds or puts a building block for the next generation to come. Because I think the one thing that we never want is for the real work to lose steam and find ourselves in a situation where somewhere down the line we've now stagnated or we've regressed by way of the tangible growth of women in business.
No, you're definitely right. And, the other success about this program is that we don't just leave it there. That's why we're saying it's a sustainable legacy of impact. All the women who went through this program, the good news is that they're not lost. They become the alumni network. It's a network of movement where they are encouraged to really, pay it forward as well. So those 1,000 people are now belonging to an alumni, and the good news that I need to share with you is that they have just launched the ebook today. And what is it about this ebook? It's about sharing their stories, acknowledging the mentors like ourselves, making sure that they telling stories for me is a powerful tool to be able to mentor the generation of the future. So we are not leaving them like that. They are going to continue to promote mentorship like they have been mentored because we believe that mentorship works. Even me, I have been mentored, Yeah.
Absolutely. Just in closing, Sis Shirley, I know that tonight is your big annual gala event. And the closeout ceremony is going to feature an address by Usis Nolita Fakadu, who was on the show last year speaking about IWFSA. The big message that you'd love for women in the room and women outside of the room hoping to be in rooms like this to take away.
So for me, the big message is that really, honestly, this program brings a lot of direct and indirect, impactful outcomes in the sense that, as you said from the beginning, there's, lack of pipeline. We believe that through this program, we have a powerful pipeline of women leaders who are going to lead with courage and integrity and shape the future of our country, different economies, because we don't see these women only shaping the future of South Africa, globally as well. So really, this is a powerful program and we need to replicate it going forward.
Absolutely. That was Shirley Machaba, who's the Leadership Development Committee Chair and Board Member of the International Women's Forum South Africa. That's IWFSA. That is where we leave this conversation. It's just gone 20 to 2 o'clock. We're going to hit the quick pause reset button and then we come back on the other side. We get into another conversation where South Africa has formally adopted the Children 20 under its G20 presidency. We'll find out what Children 20 is all about.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Gordon Ramsay is back, and your favorite kitchen disasters are still somehow in business. New season, same confused chefs, terrifying walk-ins, and enough grease to fry your Wi-Fi. Watch as Gordon tries to fix the unfixable with nothing but sheer rage, British sarcasm, and an iron stomach. Kitchen Nightmares Season 8, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on S3. Come for the food, stay for the emotional damage.
Machabeng is building South Africa's next energy-led industrial future. Join us for the Machabeng Investment Summit, 16th and 17th of October in Valcom, where opportunity meets innovation, from gas and green energy to logistics, agro-processing and advanced manufacturing. Discover how you can invest in a special economic zone backed by major energy projects, solar power and world-class infrastructure. Fast-track your investment, power your growth, and be a part of the future. Register now at www.machabeng.co.za. Powered by energy, driven by vision.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
So, one or two of you on WhatsApp are asking where you can see the visuals of the raid. I figured they are, we're watching it on SABC News, Channel 404. I figure any of the 24-hour news cycles are probably dipping into what's happening there. We even have the address. We're just not going to say it. We even have the address. The thing is, if you're going to have a taba of umuzi kanje, wazi futhi it's ukuthi izinto zakho ziyateketeka, you shouldn't really put the address so big and bold on your wall, because then when SIU comes and raids you, then we all see your address, and now we can all Google, and then we can all pitch up outside your gate to watch everything that's happening. But yes, SABC News 404 was airing that live SIU raid. They've just quickly dipped out of it, but they are rerunning the visuals every so often, where you can see where the money went from Tembisa Hospital. Let me tell you this much, that house is very expensive, probably looking at a 40 something million rand property right there. We want to get into a conversation with our next guest. I think they're on the line. Yes, we're going to get into a conversation with our next guest, Khomotso Monsu, who's the chairperson of Children 20. And the government of South Africa, under its presidency of the G20, has officially endorsed the Children 20 as one of the formal engagement groups of the G20 Social Summit. So we'll find out from Khomotso exactly what that entails. And then we'll go back to some of your voice notes around everything that's happening in Parliament. Khomotso, how are you doing today? Khomotso?
Listeners, I'm doing very great, and how are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for asking. All right, let's get into it. So the Children 20, CH20, what exactly is the CH20, and why is it its recognition has been formalized by the G20?
Okay. Yeah, firstly, let me indicate that children constitute nearly 1/3 of the global population, and over half of them live within the G20 member countries.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, G20 is a dedicated platform for children, primarily to ensure that we shape policy recommendations that are meant to address challenges faced by children as far as inequality is concerned, mental health and well-being, poverty and food insecurity, digital exclusion and safety, climate justice, quality education. The list is endless. And it consists of children and child rights actors across the global south and African continent.
Mm.
By recognizing Children 20 as a formal engagement group, it really a very noble initiative by South Africa, and sending a strong message across the continent and globally that children are not just passive recipient and beneficiary of global policies and programs, but they are strategic key stakeholders with the capacity to influence and shape policy issues, influence issues that affect them, and share their own perspectives and narratives.
In terms of SA, what role do we play under the G20 presidency in shaping the children's agenda, specifically for Children 20, and in ensuring that those voices, as you say, one of the biggest stakeholders in all things, ensuring that those voices are then heard on a global level?
In my view, the South Africa played a very critical role by creating space and opportunity for children and child rights actors to highlight key policy recommendations that require the attention of the G20 leaders by allowing us to participate in the G20 Social Summit. But critically, what we're looking for, which for us will be the noble and the critical role that the South African G20 president shall have played, is to submit a proposal to the next G20 presidency to institutionalize Children 20 as one of the standing and recognized engagement group, ensuring that there is continuity across future presidents, primarily to ensure that children's issues are embedded and integrated into all key issues that are debated and into the G20 debate. So for us, that will be the big role that the government of the presidency of South Africa shall have played by ensuring that Children 20 become a standing and recognized engagement group from presidency to presidency across generations.
Yeah. By way of the priorities, what is some of the key priorities that the CH20 declaration is hoping to bring to the main G20 discussions?
In general, the main issue we're pushing for public investment in children by ensuring that there is increased resources that can help to address hard socio-economic issues that are affecting children. We're talking about addressing the plight of food insecurity and poverty that is affecting millions of children. We're talking about minimizing the impact of climate change, ensuring that there's climate justice and the voices of children are embedded, ensuring that mental health and well-being of children are prioritized by allocating resources that are required to ensure that we can translate those aspirations into a reality.
Just to throw a spanner in the works, because you are hoping that South Africa's G20 presidency is really going to, move the needle forward in terms of getting the Children 20 adopted as a permanent structure of the G20s. A lot of people might say, well, we haven't seen, particularly with this presidency, that much will to champion children's issues. And so will they really be putting a CH20 at the forefront of everything that's going to transpire in less than a month?
I think based on the preliminary engagement and discussion which led to the establishment of Children 20, we can say there is a political will. And secondly, our recommendation will be embedded into the G20 Social Summit declaration. That's what we're pushing for. Hence, we are part of the engagement group. But we are confident that the presidents, South African G20 presidents, has expressed an interest and political will to ensure that they put the agenda forth. So we are very confident, yes.
Okay. Well, listen, we hope that this really does become somewhat of a permanent structure within the G20s, because children's issues really do need continuous championing and a global will to ensure that the right policies are put in place and the right resources are allocated in ensuring children's prosperity and protections. We appreciate the time. That was Homotso Monsu, who's the chairperson of Children 20. It's just gone 10 to 2 o'clock. Let's take a quick pause.
We have different languages and cultures, but what we have in common is that we all want a dignified funeral and for our loved ones not to worry about money when the time comes. Trust Clientele to provide you with affordable funeral cover that will pay out within 24 hours. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's SAFM to 48031. SMS now. Clientele Life is a licensed life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates, terms and conditions apply.
Channel your inner feel-good on Expresso this October, from big global moments like the G20 summit to how it all plays out right here at home.
We are keeping it real this Mental Health Awareness Month with conversations that lift and inspire. And of course, all the good stuff that you love, delicious food, fashion trends, and everything in between.
Wake up with the Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso, weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on S3.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
All right, let's go back to WhatsApp. Would love to hear your thoughts on everything that's happening or that happened on day 2 at the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line, or you can call us on 086-000-2032 if you so wish. Let's go to WhatsApp.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
He's good. He's good. He's sharp. He's smart. He speaks with confidence, clear language that everyone understands. And I humbly ask that he gets given his costume, because I'm worried now. He's going to retrieve many messages on us. On a serious note, you could see that the general really wants the country to be restored. And I support him wholeheartedly, and I hope the Senate will prevail. Thank you. Singer in East London.
Mukwana has got a small heart. If you hear Masemula saying there, he protected the Mukwanas for a long time, and they are friends with Mukwanas. Mukwanas wants position. He jumped Sibia and reported the case to Masemula. Sibia is a senior to him. So Mukwanas, some of his allegation is to seek for the position.
Hi, good afternoon, SFM and all the listeners. I like to talk regard to what Mr. Mkwana says yesterday. He was talking about journalists. That is not good, some of them, and also the judge and magistrate. You know, I'm not surprised in terms of the judges because, for instance, if you can look at the case of Namhlamtwa, the lady that she was work at municipality at Mtata, the lady that she was get abusive with the boyfriend and now she's died. The case was just disappear and keep quiet just like that. So I'm not surprised because corruption is up there because those people, they think they have money and they own everything. So now they can be able to give the judges a lot of money so that they must take the docket away and the cases just disappear like that. I so wish Mr. Mkwanas can just go back and fight for the family of Namhlamtwa because that thing was very painful. But up to now, we don't see any justice for Hlehle. That is my concern here from Cape Town. Thank you.
All right. I like the voice note that said, thank you, Sia. I like the voice note before Sia that said, he's good. He's very good. He's very, very good. I think that is the sentiment of a lot of South Africans. People, even yesterday, they were asking him around whether or not he'd have interest in, getting into the political arena and maybe running for some kind of aligning himself to a political party or running for some kind of office. And he said he's just a police officer. He's a man in blue and that's what he is and that's what he'll always be. And if his tenure there comes to an end, and well, so be it. But he'll never get into the political arena or the political space. It was interesting at some point, and I forget the MPs' names, the two ladies, at some point, they were doing a tit-for-tat question. There was a colored lady who came on around about 8 o'clock from Action SA. I think so. And she was asking specific questions like, who is the political party that you mentioned? which political party was, I think, Brian associated with. And literally she was just driving him to keep answering the African National Congress. And then the other one that then, Darylene James is her name. And then at some point, Ntokazi, whose husband was implicated in the PPS scandal, Naya then came on and did a tit for tat, trying to flip. And then what I found interesting was them trying to, the question around which political party has solicited you to be a member of it. And I think they all thought he's going to say the Economic Freedom Fighters. And he was like, no, well, there was like a statement from fighters that said I should join them, but nothing that was official. It was interesting for me that it got down to the granular of everybody trying to catch somebody in the spider's web, even on things that were just nonsensical. But I guess it's the nature of such inquiries. Got a message here that says, I'm happy to hear the voice of the true leader in the SAPS to come out so strong in the public. There's no accountability and credibility anymore in the SAPS. And I think that's part of why July 6th happened. He also mentioned the fact that he was conscious that people were at the Durban July. So he didn't want to deliver his blow by blow on the Saturday because nonke benzo bane papalas and you weren't going to listen to him. So he waited until you guys were sober on the Sunday to give you all the blow by blow. But I think that was part of, why he sort of pulled the trigger on this whole situation, was to restore the confidence and the respect in the SAPS, right? Was to cleanse the SAPS from just living under the shadows of criminality and corruption and distrust and all of that. So hopefully people like my listener here who says that there's no credibility anymore in the SAPS, once this process is done and all the rotten apples have been weeded out, then maybe we can begin to rebuild once again the greatness of the South African police services and other entities. Our WhatsApp line remains open. You can continue sending your WhatsApp voice notes. We'll find some time to play them out later on. Right now, though, we are going to get into the top of the hour news with Ondela. And then on the other side of 2 o'clock, we're going to dip into some stages, pages, screens, and more.
Outsurance is in the business of saving you money on your car insurance premium. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754.
Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, Masamula admits to vetting shortfalls within SAPS and 13 people killed in Sudan hospital attack. For SFM News, I'm Ondilambana, and a very good day. National Police Commissioner Fani Masamula has admitted that there is a shortfall with regard to the vetting process in the SAPS. Masamula is giving evidence before Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system. Masamula says they have approached the Special Investigating Unit for assistance.
In as much as we have internally done our own lifestyle audit, I approached the SIU. I said, no, come and vet us so that we can be vetted by an independent body. Not that I undermine the internal, but it's best to have it done externally. And we had various meetings, and they will soon be about to start. We have cleared all the shortfalls or problems that were on the way.
Meanwhile, police say they are not aware of any imminent arrest of suspended Deputy National Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya. This follows reports that a team of police officers are at Sibiya's Centurion home reportedly planning to arrest him. Sibiya has been implicated in both the Madlanga Commission and Parliament's ad hoc committee that are probing allegations of police corruption, among others. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate.
There are investigations that are ongoing, as publicized and mentioned before the ad hoc committee and the Madlanga Commission. But as SAPS, so far we are not aware of any person that has been arrested thus far, and that includes Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya.
The Special Investigating Unit is conducting a high-profile raid at the home of Hangwani Morgan Maumela, who is allegedly linked to the Tembisa Hospital fraud and corruption case involving over 2 billion. Sources close to the investigation say the unit obtained a court order to search the residential property. Maumela, who is reportedly connected to President Cyril Ramaphosa through a previous marriage, is said to have secured contracts worth 816 million rand. Lerato Magula is at the scene.
Police officers are stationed outside the Palishal Sentim property monitoring the raid. The property reportedly boasts a car wash, a fully equipped gym, and a barber shop. SIU authorities have yet to confirm the full outcome of today's raid at Maumela's home. The operation is ongoing, with media barred from entering the premises. Lerato Makula, SABC News in Johannesburg.
At least 13 people have been killed and 16 others injured in shelling at the main hospital in Sudan's besieged city of El Fasher in North Darfur. A medical source at the Saudi hospital told the BBC the facility was hit several times on Tuesday night, allegedly by the paramilitary rapid support forces. The BBC's Richard Kahoe has the details.
Pictures showed shattered windows, cracks from shrapnel, a gaping hole in the mud brick wall, and twisted metal from hospital beds covering the floor. Among the injured are a doctor and a nurse. Their colleagues at the only functioning medical facility in Al Fasher have called the attack a war crime. It's the second strike on the hospital this year. The first in January killed 3 children and injured 3 others.
Recapping the top story, National Police Commissioner Fani Masemula has admitted that there is a shortfall with regard to vetting process in the SAPS. Masemula is giving evidence before Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system. I'm Ondilambana for SFM News Headlines at 2:30.
Outsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. You could spend 10 minutes waiting for the microwave to beep, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 Suzuki Jimny, 55-year-old Stefan now pays only 611 Rand a month. And for her 2024 Kia Sonet, 31-year-old Palisa pays just 926 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Who's behind the mask? A singing pineapple? A disco dancing dokolosh? It can only mean one thing. It's the Masked Singer US Season 9, the only show where celebrities hide behind wild costumes and even wilder vocals. Is that Beyonce? No. It's your dentist dressed as a giant taco. Unmask the madness, the mystery, and the mayhem. Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. on S3. S3's got the masks, the music, and maybe your favorite celeb in a flamingo suit. Don't miss it.
We have different languages and cultures, but what we have in common is that we all want a dignified funeral and for our loved ones not to worry about money when the time comes. Trust Clientele to provide you with affordable funeral cover that will pay out within 24 hours. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's SAFM to 48031. SMS now. Clientele Life is a licensed life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates, terms, and conditions apply.
SAFM's award-winning drama department presents to you the radio drama series Skyline.
Press that to cockpit medical emergency now.
Cabin crew to your stations.
Where the skies promise adventure, but behind the cabin doors, untold secrets are found.
He's signing off on cheap parts they installed like it's nothing.
Catch the radio drama series every Saturday at 9 p.m. on SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Beatenberg, Raphael is the name of that particular one. It's just gone 10 past 2 o'clock on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. We are watching keenly the events that are unfolding right now with all of those SIU raids that are taking place simultaneously. And my producers just came to whisper and told me that journalists are already camping out at outside Sibiya's residency. So I'm not too sure if the SIU are going to be making a turn there today as well, or perhaps we're just watching out for whatever action that might come from that residency. And of course, Fanny Masamula continues to sit in front of Parliament answering those questions. But we are shifting gears now and we're getting into a different kind of conversation. And we're looking at the business of filmmaking, and we're talking around themes like self-distribution and also how do you make money from film in 2025. And we've got writer and filmmakers Milisutando Bongela joining us in studio for this conversation. Let's take a quick one. Stages, pages, screens and more.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Join us Tuesday at 6 on Afternoon Express as we join entertainer and DJ Luke McPherson to chat about what comes next after his 30th birthday. Musical artist Baby Days joins us in studio to catch us up on all the latest. We look back on Mani Libok's journey to becoming a professional rugby player. Raul de Mornay and Malco Bay finally tied the knot, and Afternoon Express was invited to the wedding. That's Tuesday evening at 6 with repeats on Sunday mornings at 8:30 only on S3.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio. Stages, pages.
With you.
I'm Michelle Constant. Join the JSB crew and I every Saturday and Sunday morning between 7 and 10 a.m. We promise to keep you informed and entertained with innovation, culture, cars, travel, life learnings, environment, and of course, your big fat juicy. Small stories, big ideas, massive inspiration. The Jet Set Breakfast on SAFM.
Stages, pages, screens, and more on the Full Circle.
All right, writer and filmmaker Milisutando is joining us in studio. And by the way, she has a film that is out right now, a feature-length documentary, Milisutando, which is available to audiences now already across all of Southern Africa.
All of Africa.
All of Africa. Mm-hmm. Fabulous. How are you?
All of Africa. I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Congratulations on the project.
Thank you very much.
So before we even get into the business of filmmaking, I was watching a little bit of the trailer, but without volume, so I don't have context. Mm-hmm. Give us context of the story.
So it took me about 10 years, me and my team, to develop this film and to make it happen. It premiered in 2023 at the Sundance Film Festival in the US and here at the Encounters Film Festival. And it's essentially a story that spans 3 decades, starting in the Transkei, and it explores the untold history of the Bantustans in South Africa, where the traditional narratives of apartheid as we know it and understand it in South Africa are that it started in 48 and it ended in 94, and every single black person had exactly the same experience. We were all oppressed. There were maybe some rich people who were doctors and lawyers, but most of us were having the same experience. And it's kind of a very binary, very neat expression of our history. And my film starts in the Transkei, where I was born in 1985, having no idea about apartheid. Growing up amongst Ghanaians, Ugandans, Amaxhosa, never ever seeing white people, never knowing that there's anything wrong, learning my language, reading in my language, watching cartoons, watching TV in my language, and only discovering that apartheid was a thing in 1994 when it ended and we moved to East London. And so the film takes us to the new South Africa of us going to Model C schools and living in white neighborhoods, and what that intimate encounter was for the first time, where kids were all kind of in the same schools together. And so it's also a reflection on Model C legacies, and then looking at contemporary South Africa, post-Mandela South Africa, and essentially asking what have we inherited as this generation of, the first generation of people who kind of grew up in an integrated South Africa. What is our country? And we were all told, Simunye, we are one, betunana. And we believe those narratives, and they were true to some degree. But my question in the film is it possible for Mandela's children to really be friends, all of us as mixed race people? What does it mean to be, what does friendship really mean, interracially speaking? Is it possible to have these relationships without the power dynamics? And if the power dynamics are there between black and white and Indian and colored, how do you work through those to essentially build this country that we've been told? We've been told, South Africa is a non-racial, non-sexist ABC. And we have those ideals, but I think we still have to create that country. It's also a meditation on Ubuntu, actually, a deep reading, study, and thinking through Ubuntu. What is it? How do we preserve this very, very sacred thing that I feel as young people, we're kind of throwing it away and saying, no, it's Ubuntu now. And we aren't really trying to claim it. And so in the film, we go through a lot of modalities of Isintu as to understand what happened here in this place for everybody, actually. So it's a film that is a portrait of me and South Africa growing up together. But I'm inviting all South Africans to say, now the time has come for us to reflect on what actually happened in this place to all of us. Just because somebody may have been living in Sandton and rich and white, I don't necessarily think that they had peace. In order to be an oppressor, I don't think that you have a peaceful heart. So what is it that they were told in their world that made them believe and support apartheid over and over? And was it the same thing to all of us? Because to me, growing up in the Transkei, it wasn't. I had no idea that anything was wrong. But in claim, the white people who were voting for it over and over, maybe apartheid meant something different for them. Maybe it meant security. Maybe it meant safety. Maybe it meant belonging. And when the country was taken away, quote unquote, in 1994, something was lost to them. And of course, for black South Africans growing up in townships, it was a completely different thing. So freedom meant, apartheid meant something very specific. And then freedom meant something specific. But we all know where the country is now. And I'm trying to say we should really be careful about how we remember our memories and take time to truly engage them delicately and preserve the most beautiful things about us. Not tell ourselves stories that are so... So, you watch the news and you read a newspaper, you see things online and you go, ish, we really are, we used to be a country. That's what people say. We used to be a country. And that's true. But I'm also a storyteller and an artist, and my job is to heal the stories we tell ourselves and to make sure that, because you are who you are because of the story you tell yourself every day. And so if we tell ourselves every day about, okay, corruption, yes, bulala, and all of these horrible things, we will start to internalize those narratives that we are going nowhere and we're no one. And that's true to some degree because many people are still suffering. But I think as a filmmaker who became a filmmaker because of this film, my thing is to heal the stories so that we can fix the problems from a stronger place. And ultimately, the film is named Milizutando because that's what my name is. An instruction from my parents and my ancestors. If you find that it's not there, go and be the one that creates it. And having looked at the whole history of South Africa and its real pain, its devastation, I also had to find the beauty, and also had to contend with the fact that people survived. People did still love. They still got married. They still got into relationships during apartheid. And so how do you balance that and create the country that we were told we have? I think we still have to invent it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you asking some really pertinent, poignant questions with this film, and also interesting the take when you mentioned, your formative years growing up and sort of being isolated. The environment in the world that you grew up in was to some degree isolated, separated from the realities of, and not by intention, probably just by geography. And the question has always been to a lot of people, I know in my circles at times, people find it hard to fathom the different apartheids that we experience.
Yes.
Or maybe even those who did not experience an apartheid. And when you said that, I was reflecting back on my own childhood, growing up in a home with an interracial couple whose friends were also interracial. There was a lot of isolating of what was happening elsewhere in the protection of those relationships. People never understand that, to say, what do you mean you were 13, 14, 12 and you don't know the brutality of apartheid?
And then you feel like you're not black enough.
Yes.
Because you weren't chased down by the hippo and the police and the dogs. And so for the last 20 years, I've been trying to catch up to a feeling of blackness. And then I thought, but wait a minute, this is also a legitimate story. The other story where there was this protection, and it was intentional. It was both geographical and it was intentional. This was an apartheid project, the whole Bantustan project. It was this notion of dividing the country, balkanizing it, so that black people can live over there and not bother us here as white people within our land. But ultimately, when I looked at it for a long time, I realized apartheid as a project, actually, for me, my interpretation is that it was a project to create a white homeland at the bottom of Africa. Rather than convincing, Abatswana, Abesutu, Amaxhosa, Amazulu, that we never had a problem. We know this is our home. We don't have to declare it every 5 minutes. We know that, and we don't have a feeling of not being from here. But I think ultimately it was to create a white homeland. And so South Africa was the white homeland. But they sold this idea of the Bantustans to us to give a semblance of freedom, which is how you can get a me who grows up middle class with kind of parents who are driving Mercedes-Benzes and carrying briefcases to work as middle-class civil servants, which you got in Venda, you got in Ciskei, you got in different parts of the country, feeling that, okay, I wasn't affected by this, but I was. It was fully part of the project. And the film is a meditation on that contradiction and how uncomfortable it is to have grown up in a place that amper complied and was complicit. What does not fully need. And ultimately, I think the reception has been so good because more people are like, wait a minute, our experiences weren't actually the same. We can approximate to some degree, but for many of us, there were all these different blacknesses happening, all these different whitenesses, all different forms of coloredness, Indianness, different personhoods happening. And I think the time has come now, 30 years later, for us to go deeper into what this place was and ask again, what actually was apartheid?
This is why she's the filmmaker, because film is exactly that, to probe and interrogate just the lived experience and the emotion that comes from it. And this project is interesting that this is your first film project.
Yes, it was meant to be a 5-minute blog post in 2015 about hair, actually, and black identity and why black women treat our hair the way we treat it. What are our relationships with our hair? And I thought I used to be a blogger at the time, and I thought I'm just making a 5-minute blog about hair and identity. When I started interviewing people, I had so much footage, and I was like, oh, this is much deeper than hair. This is about history, actually. And many, many years spent kind of excavating that. Then I was like, wait a minute, where did I first learn to hate my hair? Where did I first learn to disassociate with myself and myself? And I said it was the Model C school. When I looked at that history, I said, why are we not talking about the first day of Model C school, where we came from, how we all had those strange interviews where you went to the schools in your uniform from your black school, and then you got to the white school, and the grass and the pools and the tennis courts were so big, and it was so intimidating but exciting. And that whole era, I don't feel like we've documented that enough. And all the ways in which there was a lot of exciting, wonderful things, but at the same time, there was also a lot of close range racism that was happening intimately, from your friend who's sitting next to you, from the teacher, where there's this thing of you've been invited to their house and you can go and enjoy the hot dogs and the movies and the swimming pool, but then someone's going to say something really racist to you, that at that time, because you're 10, you're not going to respond because you don't know to respond. But when you're 30, you're going to go, actually, Jessica Chomi, your dad said this to me. So it's also about this generation collectively going, wait, guys, there was something that happened to us that didn't happen to Ama 2000s. What was that thing? And can we go back to that Simunye, we are one, South Africa, we love you moment, and reflect on actually what have we become because of those experiences? How much did we step forward into kind of becoming part of the world, but also that stepping forward also took us away to some degree from our Africanness.
Absolutely.
And made us not want to, turn towards it. Yeah.
I want to ask you as well, Mlisu Tando, before we run out of time, because you've self-distributed this.
Yes, we're self-distributing now in Africa, yeah.
In Africa. How challenging is that, being an independent filmmaker and doing every aspect on your own?
Yeah, I mean, I have a wonderful team that helps me out from here as well as in the US. I have producers in the US and Colombia. So it's a co-production with Colombia. And the film has had incredible reception. I cannot complain. Everywhere, all 6 continents, Australia, North America, South America, Asia. I mean, it's people in Taiwan want to watch it, in India. And I was like, we never expected that to happen. And of course in Africa. And it's had very good reception here. In the US, it's distributed by the Cinema Guild, and it's mostly educational distribution, but it also is distributed by the Criterion Channel, which was our one and only wish and desire as filmmakers. We were like, if we can get onto Criterion, we will have made it. And of course, we never thought it would happen. But they somehow learned about the film because of the exposure that it got in that country. And now it's found a home there as of this month. And in Africa, we couldn't find distributors. It had lots of reception. Every time it came to be screened here, it would be sold out, every single screening. And then there'd be like encore screenings, even this year earlier. But we couldn't get like a traditional distributor, and we thought, okay, not a problem. The confidence we got is that people want to watch the film, and so why can we not put it on my website and get people to rent it there directly instead of going to the streamers and the other traditional platforms? Why can't we get people to just watch this film on our own? And also, how are we going to make it available in Africa? Because with Vimeo, you find that Vimeo is actually only available in 4 countries to rent. And YouTube doesn't have YouTube movies. You can't go and rent a film on YouTube here, which I was quite shocked by. And so we managed to make it available on my website and on Patreon, which makes it available all over the continent. So anybody sitting anywhere in the world actually can go on the website and watch the film. And I feel like there are so many films that young African filmmakers are making all over the world, and they are available everywhere but here because of the fact that distribution here, it's either traditional, you kind of get the big, glossy, famous films that make it on the Netflixes and the Showmaxes of the world, which is fine. And then these other independent films that do well overseas critically, that win awards, somehow don't have homes. And so I was like, I've never kind of been a complainer. I'm just like, okay, if I go get it started, let's make it.
Let's find the solution.
Let's find the solution.
I really wish we had more time for this conversation, because we're just scratching the surface on the business of it. And the business of it is very important, especially from an independent filmmaker's perspective, because just the distribution conversation is 15 minutes on its own. But I think what we'll do at some point, we'll maybe continue this conversation and focus strictly on the business. For today, let's pause it here.
Thank you.
And congratulations once again on this. By the way, your website for anyone that wants to go and rent the film.
milisutando.com.
Oh, okay.
They'll find
That's
everything
simple.
they want there.
That is
including
simple.
the film.
Including the film. That was Mlisu Tando Bongela, filmmaker of that documentary, Mlisu Tando, and you can go and rent it out on her website, milisutando.com. It's 2:30, time for Ondala to bring you the headline news, and then on the other side of that, we will get straight into what's today, Thursday, side by side, and then we'll come back and wrap up the show.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, police investigators are at the home of suspended Deputy National Commissioner Shadrach Sibia in Centurion, north of Pretoria. 3 luxury Lamborghini sports cars have so far been seized by the Special Investigating Unit at the home of Hangwani Morgan Maumela in Sandton, north of Johannesburg. And Israel's cabinet is due to meet after a landmark agreement was reached for a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of the remaining Israeli hostages. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
For the best marine migration, you go to KZN. For the best hiking trails, you go to the Drakensberg. For the best flower show, you go to Namakwaland. And for the best in investments, go to Nedbank. Earn up to 10.47% interest with the Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. For better returns, open an Electronic Optimum Plus account today. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
I don't love waking up before the sunrise. I don't love wearing a school uniform. But I do love learning. I do love saving my mom money on transport and uniforms while I still get a good education. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before 28 November.
This October month, SFM shines a light on mental health awareness. This month, we bring you conversations that break the stigma, encourage care, and provide strategies to protect your mental well-being. Because it's okay not to be okay. And together, we can build a healthier tomorrow. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Side by Side.
Good afternoon and welcome to Side by Side, brought to you by the National Department of Health, Ilifa Labantwana, and the SABC Education. I hope you're having a great afternoon. Today, let's talk about why hitting children doesn't work and exploring healthier and more effective ways to guide and discipline them. As we heard from our drama episode yesterday, Sakumzi had to face a difficult situation that many parents can relate to. To help us understand effective discipline strategies and positive alternatives, we're joined by Professor Angie Mapura, a clinical psychologist. Prof. Mapura, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's start with something many parents deal with. Why do children misbehave or throw tantrums in the first place?
As children grow, in as much as they are growing, they also change, and they change in their behavior. So a child who does not throw tantrums at 2 may be sassy at 7, and maybe even give you major attitude at 12. So the best way is to understand your child's behavior and also understanding what they are going through developmentally. So it is important to pay attention and make sure that you make them feel safe and you know how they are feeling. So basically, most toddlers will misbehave, and that is because they can't express or control their emotions. So usually toddlers tend to demonstrate because they are unable to express how they are feeling. So when they are happy, you will see that they are happy. Now, when they are upset, you will see it through throwing tantrums. So because children are inquisitive, it is normal for them to try out new things, to test how far they can go. So they would usually test boundaries. So tantrums are basically these emotional blow-ups where a child is trying to express their anger or their frustration because they are unable to express it in terms of words. So the behavior or the emotional blow up is actually their way of communicating that they are frustrated. So children also have a very short temper when they are tired or when they are hungry or when they are bored or when they are frustrated. So tantrums stands as their way of letting the parent know that I need food, I'm hungry, I need a snack, I need a toy, or I need a nap right now, or I need you to buy me this, I'm seeing this in the shop, I want it. So children's tantrums are actually their way to communicate with the parent.
Well, some parents believe that hitting is a way to discipline a child, but research shows it doesn't really work. So, Prof, why is hitting children not an effective form of discipline?
So, hitting children is not an effective way to discipline them for several reasons. I will mention a few. The first one being, the negative impact on mental health. So physical punishment can cause emotional and psychological harm, leading basically to issues such as, anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, low self-confidence. And the second reason would be, behavioral problems that actually emanates from a child who's being hit regularly. So hitting can lead to an increased aggression or antisocial behavior and a higher likelihood of future violent behavior. And the third part would speak to strained relationship, where you find that it actually damages parents-child relationship, leading to a lack of trust, where the relationship is characterized by lack of open communication. And it's very ineffective because it does not actually teach the child what the desired behavior is, or either does it teach them how to make better decisions or choices. It often teaches them how to avoid getting caught because they are afraid that they will get punished. And hitting is absolutely an ineffective way to discipline your child. And maybe last, I will talk about, we know that children are actually also learning. So it models their violent behavior to say using physical punishment actually teaches our children that it is an acceptable way to solve problems. So positive discipline techniques are far more effective in teaching children appropriate behaviors and helping them, develop self-discipline and problem-solving skills. So it's important to just know that hitting as a punishment is ineffective in terms of discipline.
So, if hitting isn't the answer, what are some of the positive and healthy discipline strategies that parents can use instead?
Positive discipline strategies focuses on teaching and guiding children rather than punishing them. So there are quite various effective techniques that parents can use. I will mention a few. Number one speaks to setting clear expectations, where parents need to clearly communicate rules and expectations to their children. And they must also make sure that they make consistent and fair rules that will help the child, to understand what is expected of them. Now, the second strategy would be, the use of timeouts, where a timeout helps the child to calm down, and reflect on their own behavior. So it's a way where parents remove the child from the situation where they are misbehaving so that the child can look and reflect on their own behavior. So that is a teaching tool. Now, the third strategy will speak to natural consequences, where parents need to sometimes, having gauged the safety, allow the child to experience the natural consequences of their own action. So this will speak into where parents will gauge how safe it is to apply these natural consequences, where they allow a child to experience naturally what is their consequence of their decision or their behavior. Giving an example, so say a child refuses to wear a coat when it's cold. A parent can withhold the coat and hide it somewhere, but the child experiences, maybe for a short a period of time, how cold it is, and the importance of understanding why the parent said they must wear a coat, and maybe give them later. That would allow the child to learn, and experience, the natural consequence of their action. Now, we also have a strategy that speaks to positive reinforcement, where parents need to praise and reward positive behavior that will serve to encourage that particular behavior to consistently, prevail. So it helps the child to understand what behaviors are desirable, in as much as they would also learn what is undesirable. So teaching our children problem solving is also very important, where children learn how to resolve conflict and also solve their own problems. And this builds actually their decision making skills, and also it fosters, independence. So now the last which I would speak to, which is very important, is staying calm. So these model a calm and a controlled behavior where parents must learn, and practice to react calmly. Sometimes parents can be loud and shout and angry, emotional, that actually model the behavior that when something is uncomfortable, then somebody must shout, somebody must react in an emotional way. So children are more likely to mirror the behavior that the parents are actually displaying. So it's important for parents to use also the stay calm strategy where they will control and model the calm and controlled behavior. So the children will also mirror that and know that even when one is frustrated, you can still stay calm.
What actually happens to a child emotionally and mentally when they are hit as punishment?
So when a child is punished, say maybe the parent will call it, oh, I just smacked him, I just spanked him. The physical discipline actually have deeper and lasting emotional and mental effects. So the effects vary depending on the child's temperament, the frequency and the severity of punishment. I mean, one versus the other, where a child is physically hit and they now have a scar to show once they were hit. And research consistently allude to the fact that there are several harmful patterns that actually emanates from physical punishment. One, where parents use punishment as a model or as a strategy, you know, fear then replaces understanding. So instead of the child learning why a behavior is wrong, then the child learns to behave out of fear so that they are not hurt. So it basically stops them to actually have, empathy, to have that moral reasoning ground. So the child's brain will then associate mistakes with danger, not learning. In addition, so it also damages the trust and security. So children depends on their caregiver for safety. So when a person is supposed to protect them, say maybe it's a parent or a caregiver, and then they end up causing them pain, it creates confusion and insecurity in them. So over time, this actually weakens the bond between the parent and the child. Now, the third thing, which is very important, is it also increases the anger and resentment. So many children who are hit by their caregivers or their parents, they feel angry, they feel humiliated, they feel frustrated, they feel very, very, very hurt, and there is shame that comes with that. So they will they are more likely not to allow themselves to express such emotions, such frustrations, or such anger and resentment. Now, when these feelings build up, what would happen is then that would lead to resenting their parents, and they become now rebellious. They will also be aggressive towards others. So it's important to note that punishment actually leads to increased anger and resentment. The other issue is there is what we call internalized shame and low self-worth. So a child who is being hit by their parent, rather than the child feeling bad about the wrongfulness of what is said they have done and understanding what bad means in their context, now they start to behave in a way that they feel or they end up believing that they deserve the pain, they are unlovable. So when they make mistake, they will actually also internalize such emotions and feelings to a point where now such internalized shame will lead to low self-worth. So it actually destroys their self-esteem, their self-confidence.
Professor Mapura, thank you so much for joining us today. In closing, are there some cultural beliefs and myths that still make some parents believe hitting is the best way to discipline?
Yes, absolutely. across many cultures, there are long-standing beliefs, traditions, and myths about physical punishment. And, there are common cultural beliefs or myths, many of which one would be, I was hit and I turned out fine. So someone who grew up being hit, they will say it is okay. Because when they look at themselves as successful as they might be, they would say, maybe being hit contributed as well. So, and this is a sense that many people have adapted and normalized their experience because there was nothing that they could do. And actually, research shows that even people who appear fine may carry a lot of emotional scars. So basically, number two would speak to, it's part of our culture, it's part of our tradition. And now this is a sense where some communities would see hitting as normal and as necessary to be part of raising respectful children. Some people believe that, hitting shows who's in control. So it's a game of showing or demonstrating, who is in authority, who deserves respect. So I will go back and say fear can be produced, during that time when the parent is hitting the child. And it's important to always, know that hitting is not an effective way to raising children. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor and a pleasure being here.
Thank you for listening to Side by Side. Join us again same time next week when we'll be talking about identify cognitive delays in children.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hi everyone, my name is Itumele Nkune, SABC Sport Football Analyst. When I feel down and I listen to gospel, it gives me motivation. I'm a person who loves all genres. If I was a chef, my favorite meal that I would prepare would be pap, cabbage, meaty bones, with a bit of acha on the side. My favorite language is Portuguese. Bom dia, como está? Estou bem. What I like about SABC Sport is they give you the platform and the permission to be yourself and speak any language.
Catch the ever-passionate Itumele Nkune's analysis of Ebola Leju on match days, live on Latuma. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
Living your best life on the Full Circle.
For our last conversation, we are catching up with Makone Maija, who is the Institute of Race Relations Strategic Engagements Manager. And the IRR will be approaching the South African Council of Churches to discuss the scale of the moral fraud that is fake transformation. What they call a system of policies and practices that have entrenched corruption, hollowed out state institutions, and devastated public services. Makone, how are you doing this afternoon?
Very well, thank you, Bridget. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get a good understanding on the Institute of Race Relations seeking out and approaching the South African Council of Churches to discuss the scale of moral fraud. Let's understand that.
Yeah, so to just give context about our approaching the council, we had first made contact with them in August, just after they concluded their anti-corruption conference, inviting them to further drill into this discussion about corruption and see if we could explore not just the symptoms of corruption, but rather the root causes, of which we identify fake transformation as one. Because only by identifying and rooting out those deeply entrenched characteristics that define fake transformation can we get to reforming some of these institutions and laws in a way that, we can move past corruption and root it out institutionally, so that moving forward, these institutions can operate free from the concern, or nearly free from the concern of corruption, and move forward in a sustainable manner, adjusting for variance in leadership, so that no matter what political party or coalition or what leader comes next in these positions of power emerging from these institutions, those institutions will be able to hold them accountable and have built-in machinations of accountability within them. And that's why we think it's so important to drill into that conversations about the root causes of fake transformation. And so we've renewed our invitation to the council. They had acknowledged receipt of our initial letter in August, and we're nearly at the 2-month mark since that acknowledgement. And also, given that, the discussion about corruption has come to a head, both from the explosive accusations of procurement capture, that was the finding in the SIU's interim report into corruption at the Tembisa Hospital, as well as amidst the accusations and the testimonies we've heard so far from the Madlanga Commission, where there is capture being alleged that apparently travels all the way up into the highest echelons of our government within the executive. And that is really the reason why we've approached the council. They've played this role of providing moral leadership and guidance in South Africa's history that dates all the way back to the apartheid government. And so we think that given that historical role of defining the moral compass in our country and its majority Christian population, they bear that responsibility to this day, and we seek to engage them on matters of grave concern about the levels in which corruptions have become rife in South Africa.
I mean, I guess that speaks to my next question in terms of the role and why IRR so strongly believes in the organization's role and the church's role being crucial in addressing all things corruption.
Let me harken you back all the way back to 1954. The IR has a century-long history of advocacy. It was founded in 1929, and we opposed race-based legislation then. We continue to do so today, where it seems to be a bit more taboo today to go against, race rigging in legislature and in government. But in 1954, the IRR issued a seminal statement of objectives named Go Forward in Faith, where we proclaimed that South Africa is founded in Christian beliefs, beliefs about the inherent value of individual human beings, that individual human beings have rights to dignity, to humanity, to the fullest expression and development compatible with the rights of others within the framework of a democratic state. That statement goes on to speak about the values of a democratic society, which includes freedoms, rights, and duties, and ultimately the acceptance of brotherhood of man, which we defer to the religion of Christianity to define. So the IR has long recognized, that South Africa is founded on those democratic beliefs that find their roots and their source in the Christian religion, of which the church presides, and provides that guidance on how these principles are interpreted to this day. And when we see those principles being undermined, we're talking about the right to dignity, the right to equality, the right to basic services. We're seeing those institutions and those rights being severely eroded by corruption, which we identify to be a feature, not a bug of their transformation, then we have to rope the church in. Because again, they've always played that role in South Africa's history. And again, we were going from the conference that they had held at the end of July, where they were already discussing matters of corruption. It just happens that, in October, there've been these explosive allegations that have come out that's how we ended up renewing our invitation to have that discussion with them.
I think, Makone, if one had to play devil's advocate, right, a lot of South Africans who listen to conversations such as this one often have the sentiment that they're so tired of talk shops. They're tired of organizations gathering in conference, talking about issues, but really not doing anything that is tangible, anything that is seen as an act of progression in the right direction. So what practical steps do you hope will come from this engagement with the SACC? That ordinary South Africans like me, like you, can actually then really genuinely support this move towards a general or a genuine transformation and a better South Africa.
I have to agree with you there, Bridget, about the vacuous nature in which talk shops have become, especially when things are so desperate. But I want to urge South Africans and encourage them to not be so exacerbated that they do not recognize the power of public pressure. Public pressure absolutely worked. Like I said, the IRR was founded in 1921 on the belief that all humans across the racial spectrum have inherent dignity and value and are born with those rights. And through years of upholding those, even when it was, criminal to uphold those views during the apartheid era, it led to the fall of apartheid. So public pressure absolutely works. But in terms of practical steps, we are presenting a few bills to the SACC. We will be presenting those during our discussion, and through grassroots activism, where we are appealing to South Africans to join hands with us in building this coalition that seeks true transformation that's entrenched in growth, that ultimately leads to ending poverty through job creation, through self-empowerment. That we have presented these bills, including, the value for money bill, which talks about how procurement should be based on value for money and not characteristics like race or gender. We're looking here at the right to own bill, which seeks to strengthen property rights, particularly of those who are vulnerable. We're talking about government issuing our title deeds. There's over 1 million title deeds that are being held to this day by the government that could be issued and afford millions of South Africans access to title, access to property rights, access to financial institutions that were previously closed off to them. That's what we're talking about when we mean real transformation. It must be growth-led and ultimately inclusive. We're talking here about the normal race laws, Again, going off of the IR century activism, opposing race-based laws, we continue to do that and think race-based laws present barriers to growth. And only by eradicating them can the country really begin to realize genuine economic growth. So through those grassroots movements and building the coalition with partners like the SACC and others, these are the bills we'll be presenting to Parliament. And
Makone, we have to leave it there for this afternoon, unfortunately. We've run out of time, but we thank you for yours. That was Makone Maija, the Institute of Race Relations Strategic Engagements Manager. Ashraf is already in the building. He's going to bring you the National Pulse. For myself and my team, we thank you so much for choosing to be in conversation with us. We get to see you again tomorrow as we wrap up the week that was. Inshallah, God willing, we'll do it again. Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, police investigators at the home of Sibiya and Israel's cabinet to meet following ceasefire deal in Gaza. For SAFM News, I am Onde Lambana, and a very good afternoon. Police investigators at the home of suspended Deputy National Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya in Centurion, south of Pretoria. This follows allegations of his imminent arrest after he was implicated in both the Madlanga Commission and Parliament's ad hoc committee inquiry into police corruption.
However, SAPS has denied this. Senior reporter Griselda Lewis is outside Sibia's house.
Been earlier reports suggesting that there would be an arrest that will take place. We're not sure exactly what is taking place inside at this particular stage. Perhaps we'll be able to hear from his lawyers a little bit later on, who are inside with Shadrach Sibia, about exactly what is taking place here. But it doesn't seem to be business as usual behind this gate. Perhaps we'll be able to get a sense once his lawyers are able to come and speak to us. But we cannot confirm anything at this stage relating to an arrest that has taken place, whether there's been a search and seizure warrant that has been brought here.
National Police Commissioner Fani Masemula has admitted that there is a shortfall with regard to the vetting process in the SAPS. Masemula is giving evidence before Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system. Masemula says they have approached the Special Investigating Unit for assistance.
In as much as we have internally done our own lifestyle audit, I approached the SIU. I said, no, come and vet us so that we can be vetted by an independent body. Not that I undermine the internal, but it's best to have it done externally. And we had various meetings, and they will soon be about to start. We have cleared all the shortfalls or problems that were on the way.
3 luxury Lamborghini sports cars have so far been seized by the Special Investigating Unit at the home of Hangwani Morgan Maumela in Sandton, north of Johannesburg. Maumela is allegedly linked to the Tembisa fraud and corruption case involving over 2 billion rand. He's reportedly connected to President Cyril Ramaphosa through a previous marriage and is said to have secured contracts with 816 million rand. Lerato Makula reports.
2 large trucks are still on site to load items being removed. The property reportedly boasts a car wash, a fully equipped gym and a barber shop. The SIU obtained a court order to search the residential property. Authorities have yet to confirm the full outcome of today's raid at Maumela's home. Lerato Makula, SABC News in Johannesburg.
ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says the ANC has lost a great leader in the late South Africa's ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa. Mbalula, accompanied by the party's provincial task team, visited the Mthethwa homestead at KwaMthethwa near KwaMbonambi to pay their respects. He described Mthethwa as a great leader who was dedicated to the ANC.
We in the ANC have lost a giant. Have lost a great leader of our movement. Leadership is not defined in terms of positions. Your deeds and character define leadership. Comrade Nathi, as much as he was privileged at some point to lead the ANC at all levels of our organization, regional up until the national level, and was also baptized in revolutionary fires. He was a gallant fighter.
Israel's cabinet is due to meet after a landmark agreement was reached for a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of the remaining Israeli hostages. Ministers are expected to approve what they're calling the hostage liberation plan in exchange for the freeing of around 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. The BBC's Yolandi Nell.
It sets in trail this set of events now. We should have the Israeli Security Cabinet meeting in the afternoon. They have to give the approval to this deal before it is then voted on by the entire cabinet. But it is considered at this point, despite the criticism that's seen as inevitable from the Israeli Prime Minister's far-right allies, that the deal will go through. They have to approve the list of Palestinian prisoners that will be released from Israeli jails in exchange for the hostages. And then once that has happened, we should start to see the Israeli forces pulling out in Gaza. They should withdraw to the lines that have been agreed upon with Hamas.
Recapping the top story, police investigators are at the home of suspended Deputy National Commissioner Shadrach Sibia in Centurion, south of Pretoria. I'm on Delambana for SFM News Headlines at 3:30.
Bafana Bafana clash with neighbours Zimbabwe in a FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier at the Moses Mabhida Stadium on Friday, the 10th of October 2025 at 6 p.m. Tickets are now available nationwide and online at all Ticket Pro outlets, including Spar, Postnet, and all petrol stations. Fill up Mabhida to push Bafana Bafana to qualify. Bafana Bafana supporters, bring the noise eThekwini, and gates will open at 3 p.m. If you are not in Durban, wear your Bafana Bafana Friday gear and catch the game on SABC2. For more info, visit safa.net and at Bafana Bafana on all social media platforms.
We have different languages and cultures, but what we have in common is that we all want a dignified funeral and for our loved ones not to worry about money when the time comes. Trust Clientele to provide you with affordable funeral cover that will pay out within 24 hours. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's SAFM to 48031. SMS now. Clientele Life is a licensed life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates, terms and conditions apply.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
In sports this hour, India collapsed with quick wickets against the Proteas women. India currently on 150 for 6 after 38 overs. URC team sound R360 alarm and Mutibi rules out Soweto Marathon. More details at 3:30.
The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Would you believe it? Last night, that parliamentary ad hoc committee conversation went on till close to midnight. Can you believe it? These are the times we live in. And of course, the next day, all these guys are back in action. And let's do that right away. The National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola, is now testifying